I paid $1.50 last week to put air in my own tires. Air. And I sat there in the car afterward, thinking about being 19 years old, pulling into a station, and a fellow in a uniform coming out to fill the tank, check all 4 tires, and wipe down the windshield, and not charging me 1 nickel for any of it. So I sat down and made a list of the things I can actually remember being free. Not things I read about somewhere, things I stood there and got handed for nothing, back when that was just how it worked. I'm Walt, by the way, on the far side of 60, and on a fixed income the same as a lot of you watching, so I went through every one of these myself and checked what it costs today. And I'll say this now, I know I've forgotten some. If one comes to you while you're watching, put it down in the comments, because I do read them, and there's probably a second list in there. I got to 14 before I made myself stop. One of them is $45, just to put a suitcase on an airplane, and that suitcase used to come with the ticket. But the good news is that on more than half of this list, there's still a way to get the thing for nothing, and I'll tell you what it is as we go along. If you can remember when a full tank came with a clean windshield, do me a favor and tap that like button, and stick with me all the way to the last one, because that one still makes me angry, and it happens at a hospital. So let's start with the air, since that's what set me off. When I was young, that hose just sat there next to the pumps like a drinking fountain, and it never once occurred to anybody to put a coin slot on it. Now here's something I did not know until I went looking. In 2 states, that air is still free. Not free because the owner's being nice. Free because the law says so. California has a law on the books that a service station has to give you air, water, and a working tire gauge at no charge if you bought your gas there. They're supposed to have a sign up telling you that. Station refuses, that's a $250 fine. Connecticut's is even better. Theirs says anybody selling motor fuel has to give free air to whoever asks for it, and you don't have to buy so much as a pack of gum first. 2 states out of 50. I'm not going to oversell it to you. Everywhere else they can charge whatever they feel like charging. But do this anyway, wherever you live. Walk inside and ask the fellow at the register to turn the air on. Most of those machines have a little switch behind the counter, and I've had 2 different stations flip it for me, without so much as raising an eyebrow. All it cost me was asking. Now this next one, you never even asked for. It showed up on the table before you'd opened the menu. Number 2, the bread and butter, chips and salsa, rolls in a basket with a cloth over the top of them at the steak place. Nobody ordered it and nobody paid for it. That was just how a restaurant said hello. Now it's a line on the ticket. $1 for extra ranch, $2 for more salsa. And plenty of places have quit putting anything down at all. It isn't the money. It's small money, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you $1 of ranch dressing is going to sink anybody. It's that they could have baked it into the price of the meal, and not one of us would have noticed, and instead they hand it to you as its own charge, so you feel it leaving. 2 things I do about it. I ask before I order instead of after, because a lot of places still put the bread out and they've just stopped bragging about it. And I eat early. The same restaurant charging for extras at 7 o'clock is usually still bringing the basket at 4:30. That one's a couple of dollars a visit, and I'll be square with you about that. This next one is $160 a year. Number 3, free checking. There was a stretch where a bank would hand you a toaster just for walking in the door. Free account, free checks, and they acted glad to have you. The average monthly fee on a checking account hit a record this year, about $13.50 a month. Call it $160 a year, and what you get for your $160 is the privilege of them holding on to your money. Here's the good part, and it's better than most people would guess. Right around a third of the checking accounts in this country still charge nothing at all, and that number has been climbing, not falling, because the online banks and the credit unions dragged everybody into it. And here's the one I want you to actually go do this week. At most banks, that monthly fee gets waived if you've got a direct deposit landing in the account. Your Social Security counts as a direct deposit. So if that fee is coming out and your check goes in every month like clockwork, call them and ask them why. Worst thing they can do is tell you no. One thing to watch for: there's free, and then there's free as long as you keep a certain balance sitting there. Those are not the same animal. One thin month and the fee walks right back in. So when you call, ask them which kind you've got. And this next one, somebody used to carry out to your car for you. Number 4, the grocery bag. Paper or plastic, and a young fellow who walked it to the trunk and wouldn't take $1 for doing it. As of January, 12 states have banned the plastic checkout bag outright. California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Maine, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Washington. And most of them turn around and make the store charge you for the paper one, anywhere from a nickel up to 12 cents. Washington just went to 8 cents for paper and 12 for the thick plastic. It's dimes. It's not going to break anybody. But the bagger is gone in most places too, and no law did that. Somebody in an office just decided, keep the reusable ones in the trunk, not in the house, because if you're anything like me, they'll sit by the back door for a month while you keep buying bags at the register. And here's a piece almost nobody mentions. In several of those states, if you're on food assistance, you don't pay the bag charge at all. Food stamps, or the Women, Infants and Children program. But you have to ask at the customer service desk, because I promise you the cashier is not going to bring it up. It's state by state, so I can't sit here and tell you it works where you live. I can tell you asking is free. Now here's one where the free thing didn't just get a price put on it. It vanished off the front porch altogether. Number 5, looking somebody up. A name, a phone number, an address. That book landed on the step every year with a thump, and everybody in the county was in it, and it cost nothing. If you couldn't find what you needed in there, you dialed 411 and a real woman looked it up while you waited on the line. Go dial 411 now. Depending on who your phone company is, that call runs you somewhere between $2 and $8. And here's the part that got under my skin. They charge you even when they can't find it. That isn't me guessing, that's printed on a phone company's own help page. $2 to have somebody tell you they don't have it. Now I know exactly what some of you are thinking. Just look it up on the phone. And for a business, you're right. The map on your phone will hand you the address and the number for nothing. But go try to find a person. An old friend you lost track of, a cousin you haven't called in 15 years, whoever's living at an address now. You'll get pushed straight onto one of those people search websites, and every last one of them wants your credit card before it will show you a single thing. There is a free number though, 1-800, then the word free, then 411. You sit through a short advertisement, and it gives you the listing, and it costs you nothing. And here's one for us in particular, so listen close to this. A lot of the phone companies will give you an allowance of free directory assistance calls every month if you're older or if you have trouble reading a printed directory. Verizon says that on its own website, but you have to call and ask for it. Nobody is mailing you a letter about it. It's different in every state and with every company, so the only way to know is to pick up the phone, and that part doesn't cost you anything either. That's 5, and I want to stop right here a second, because I know good and well I've missed some. What do you remember getting for free that has a price on it now? Put it in the comments. If enough of them come in, that's the next video, and I'll say who named it, because from here on, it stops being dimes. Number 6, and it's a peculiar thing to have to pay for. getting rid of something you don't want. There was a time you sorted it yourself and drove it down to the dumpsters behind the shopping center, and that was that. Or the truck came, and it was already covered by what you paid in taxes. A town in Georgia went from free curbside recycling to $144 a year. A city up in South Carolina dropped the service, and now folks pay $12 a month to a private outfit. Chesapeake, Virginia cut city-funded pickup for about 70,000 households and pointed all of them at subscriptions, and saved itself $2 million doing it. So now there's a fee to have your own garbage sorted. Your county almost certainly still runs a free drop-off center. They just don't advertise it, because the subscription is what they'd rather sell you. Look up your county's solid waste page and find the closest one. Scrap metal and cardboard are usually free to drop, and if you're in one of the bottle bill states, your cans and bottles are worth a nickel or a dime a piece coming back the other way. Now, I'm not going to dress this up. Hauling it yourself means loading a car. If your back won't let you do that, then the free option isn't really an option, and you're paying the fee, and I'd be lying to you if I pretended there was a trick for it. Speaking of things that used to show up at your house with nothing attached to them. Number 7. The statement in the mailbox. The bank sent it. The electric company sent it. It didn't cost you a thing, because mailing you the bill was considered part of billing you. Now there are banks and credit card companies charging $2 to $5 a month to put one sheet of paper in an envelope. Citi is doing it. Synchrony is doing it. And Synchrony runs the store cards for Lowe's and Sam's Club and JCPenney and a whole pile of others. So if you've got one of those in your wallet, go look at your statement tonight. Utility districts are in on it too. I found one town starting a $2 monthly charge this November unless you sign up for paperless. $5 a month is $60 a year to receive your own bill. And here's what made me put my coffee down. In New York, that's illegal, and it has been since 2011. A company up there cannot charge you extra to mail you a billing statement. There are law firms in New York right now going after outfits still doing it. Everywhere else, call them and ask them to take it off, and tell them straight out that you don't bank on a computer. A lot of these places have a code they can put on the account for exactly that, and they use it for people our age more than you'd think. I can't tell you they'll say yes. In 49 states, they don't have to. And while they were charging you to receive the bill, look what happened to the thing the bill was for. Number 8, and this one irritates me more than any of the others, paying extra to not watch commercials. That was the whole promise. That was the entire reason people cut the cord and canceled cable. You pay a monthly fee, and there are no commercials. That was the deal on the table. Netflix opened at $9.99 a month with no advertisements. Back in March, they took the ad-free plan up to $19.99. Disney started in 2019 at $6.99 with no advertisements, and the ad-free version runs $18.99 today. And Amazon put commercials into Prime Video and then asked for about $3 a month to take them back out again, on a service you were already paying for. Now let me give you my favorite thing in this whole video, and I'd bet most of you aren't using it. Your library card. Canopy and Hoopla are streaming services your public library already pays for. If you've got a card, they cost you nothing, and there is not one advertisement on either of them. Real films, documentaries, whole series, and a $20 antenna sitting in your window still pulls in your local channels in high definition for free, exactly like it did in 1965, and I don't believe most people under 50 know that's still true. What you give up is choice. The library apps only let you borrow so many titles in a month, and the antenna isn't going to bring you the cable channels. But between the two of them, I know people our age who dropped a subscription and haven't missed it once. This next one, I'll tell you plainly, I had to go check. I wasn't sure it was ever free. Number 9. The delivery charge. My memory said a pizza used to come to the door for nothing and you just took care of the driver, and I wanted to be sure of that before I said it out loud on camera. Turns out I had it right. The chains brought delivery charges in around the turn of the century. 50 cents at Pizza Hut, about $1 at the other two. That same fee today, depending where you live, is $5, $6, $7. And here's the piece that gets people, and rightly so. The chains themselves will tell you the delivery charge is not a tip and the driver doesn't get it. So you pay the fee, and then you take care of the young man on top of the fee because he needs it. Order through one of those phone apps, and it's worse. Service fee, small order fee, some sort of regulatory fee, and the food itself priced higher on the app than the same restaurant charges at its own counter. Same pizza. Carry-out is the answer, and it isn't complicated. Just about every chain runs a carry-out deal that beats delivery before you've even counted the fee and the tip. So if you're able to drive, that's $10 staying in your pocket on one order. And if you can't drive, at least call the restaurant direct instead of going through the app, because the app markup is where the real money is going, not the driving. I'll give them this much. Gas and insurance are real costs for a business. What I won't give them is charging you a delivery fee and then telling the driver it isn't his. Number 10. Sending something back. It didn't fit, you put it in the box, you sent it back, and that was the end of it. Last year, 72% of merchants said they'd charged a fee on at least one kind of return. Year before that, it was 66. Marshalls and TJ Maxx pull $11.99 out of your refund per package. J.C. Penney takes $8. J. Crew about $7.50. Best Buy will hit you 15% on opened electronics and $45 on a phone or a tablet you've already switched on. So you buy a sweater, you get it home, it's wrong, you mail it back, and you're out $12 for your trouble. Walk it into the store instead. That's it, that's the whole thing. That charge is a shipping fee, not a penalty, and carrying it through the door usually costs you nothing. Amazon works the same way. Free at a Whole Foods or a Kohl's, and they'll take $1 off you at a shipping store if there was a closer place you skipped. Where that falls apart is if the nearest store is an hour up the road, and for plenty of folks it is, and then the mail is the only choice you've got. One more thing you ought to know. If the thing showed up broken, or defective, or it simply wasn't what they advertised, they are not supposed to charge you 1 penny to send it back. If somebody tries it, say that to them out loud on the phone. These last 4 are the ones that made me want to sit down and make this in the first place. Number 11, and it isn't a fee on a product at all. It's waiting your turn. Everybody used to stand in the same line. The banker and the man who fixed the banker's car stood in the same line at the amusement park, at the ski lift, at the airport. That's just how it went. Now, if you've got the money, you go to the front. Theme parks sell it. Airports sell it. And it's crept into places that genuinely surprised me. There was a mess down in Miami a few years back where people were booking up every appointment slot at the motor vehicle office and selling them on the side, so if you wanted your license renewed this month instead of 5 months from now, you paid a stranger for his spot in a line. They outlawed it eventually. Go at the ugly hours. First thing on a weekday morning, or the dead middle of the afternoon. You walk straight past everybody who paid to skip a line that isn't even there. That's the whole trick. And the only thing it costs you is getting up early. And most of us are up anyway. It won't help you at a theme park with the grandkids in July. Sometimes the line is just long and there's nothing for it. But I'd sooner stand in it than pay a man to hold my place, and I've a feeling a good many of you would too. Now here's one that shouldn't have a thing to do with money. Number 12, and this is where I quit finding any of it funny. Sitting next to your own husband or wife on an airplane. You bought 2 tickets. Same flight, same day, paid for in the same minute. And the airline will put her in row 9 and you in row 31 unless you hand them more money. $25 a seat is common. On some flights it's over $100. The airlines took in $4.2 billion in seat fees in a single year, and it costs them nothing to do it. It's a line in a computer. So book both tickets on one reservation under one confirmation number, because the computer generally keeps people together when they're on the same record. If you're already booked and you're split up, get logged in the minute check-in opens, 24 hours before the flight. That's when the leftover seats get released with no charge on them. And then ask the gate agent, politely and early, before boarding starts. They hold seats back, and they'll move you if they've got anything to move you into. Now here's the part you need to hear, and you won't hear it from most people telling you this. The Department of Transportation leaned on the airlines about seating young children next to a parent at no charge. And most of the big carriers do that now. There is no such rule for a husband and wife. 2 people married 40 years have no right whatsoever to sit together on that airplane. You're depending on a kind agent, and that is the whole of your protection. Which brings me to 13. For 54 years, Southwest let everybody check 2 bags free. That was the reason a lot of people flew them. That was the whole personality of the airline. It ended on the 28th of May, 2025, and then, not even a year later, on the 9th of April this year, they raised the fee they had just got done inventing. First bag went from $35 to $45. Second one from $45 to $55. Third bag is $150. So a husband and wife flying out to see the grandchildren, 1 suitcase apiece, there and back, that's $180 in bag fees on a trip that used to include them. There are more ways around it than people realize, though. The carry-on and the personal item are still free on every Southwest fare, including the cheapest one, and they don't restrict your bin space on the cheap fare either. If you can live out of a carry-on, you pay them nothing. Active duty military still check everything free with no limit. The Southwest credit card gets you a bag and covers up to 8 people on the same reservation, which matters if you're traveling with family. Their A-list members get 1 bag, A-list preferred get 2, and the choice extra fare has 2 bags built into it. So every now and again the higher fare comes out cheaper than the low fare plus your bags. Worth doing that arithmetic on the screen before you click anything. But I'll say the hard part out loud. The old deal is gone and it isn't coming back. Every major airline in this country raised bag prices this spring. And now the last one. This is the one I told you about at the start. Number 14. Paying to park at a hospital. Stop and think about why anybody is in that garage. They're sick, or they're going up to see somebody who's sick, or they're going to sit with somebody at the end of it. Nobody parks at a hospital because they felt like it, and we charge them. $10 a day is common. The big city hospitals run higher. And if you've got a husband or a wife in there for a week, that's every single day, stacked on top of everything else that week is already costing you. Most people pull in, read the sign, pay the sign, and go home. So if you take one thing out of this entire video, take this one. Nearly every hospital that charges for parking has a validation. You carry that little ticket inside with you, and you hand it to the information desk, or the nurse's station, or the front desk of whatever department you were in, and they stamp it, and it's free or near enough to free. At a good many hospitals, it's completely free with that stamp, but the ticket has to come inside with you, and there is nobody standing at that entrance who's going to tell you. If somebody's in for more than a day or two, go ask the information desk about a multi-day pass. They run around $35 for a whole week in places where the daily rate would cost you double that. And this is the one I most want you to remember. Ask for the patient advocate or the social worker on the floor. That is their job. That is literally what they're there for. They can hand out parking validations, and almost nobody ever thinks to ask them. If you've got a handicap placard, show it, because some hospitals discount it or drop it altogether. And the valet at the emergency entrance is often free or close to it, which is backwards from what everybody assumes. None of this ought to be necessary. I know that, but until somebody changes it, carry the ticket inside with you. So there's 14, and I want to be square with you about what it adds up to, because I could sit here and put a frightening number on the screen and it wouldn't be true. Some of these are dimes. But the checking fee, the paper statement fee, the recycling subscription, and the ad-free streaming, those four together are a stack of little monthly charges for things that used to come with the purchase, and in a lot of houses, that's $400 to $600 a year walking out the door. The travel ones only hit once or twice a year, but they hit hard. And the hospital one you might only run into once in your life, which is exactly why you want to know about the validation before you need it. Here's what I keep coming back to. Not one single thing on that list got more expensive because it got better. The air compressor didn't improve. The bread on the table didn't improve. Somebody in an office worked out that we'd pay it. And we did, because most of us were raised not to make a fuss. So make a little fuss. Ask the man to turn the air on. Carry the parking ticket inside. Call the bank about the fee. Every one of those is one question, and the worst that can happen is somebody tells you no. And I meant what I said at the top. There's no chance this list is complete, and you've been around as long as I have. So what did I leave out? What used to come with the purchase in your house, and now shows up with its own line on the bill. Put it below. I read them, and if there's enough of them, we'll do a second one, and I'll say your name when I get to yours. One last thing before you go. Everything I do here started as a pile of notes I was keeping for myself, and I finally got them into a book. The Senior Savings Handbook. Large print, because I need large print. One-time price, under $20, no subscription, and any update I ever write for it comes to you free. There's a whole chapter on fees like these, and the exact words to say to get them knocked off. The link is in the description, or on screen now if you pause and use the QR code, or visit my site. Thanks for sitting with me. I'll see you next time.